Hey, guys.
Check complete. Let's head over to the bar.
Yes. And we're back again with another episode of the VARBAR double game week things. I am the host with the absolute most, Andrew, aka Rapping Drew, and I am joined by my compadres, J to the Mace is showing face again. Obviously, the man them are saying you've been hiding and shit. Understandable, you get me, but how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. The man didn't talk a lot, but I'm here. I'm representing, you know. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Not too bad. How are you, man, Strizza?
I was gonna say how Strizza doing, but
I'm from Romania. Imagine going on holiday and watching your team just get moved to and ruining your vacation. Was it vacation or was it a solo trip?
Yeah, it was that, man. But listen, these men have been ruining whatever I've been doing. Whether I've been in England, Romania, Jamaica, these men have been ruining week after week, weekend after weekend. So nothing new there, man.
Yeah, man. We'll dive into that very soon, man. But I kind of just wanted to start with the top two at the moment because obviously the title race, is I think it's slowly but surely taking shape. We've got teams below that as well, but it's taking shape in terms of where the respective two teams are. And obviously there was games midweek. There were midweek Premier League games. North London derby. We could start there. Obviously, Arsenal beat Spurs 2-1. I think this was off the back of FA Cup, right? Was it off the back of FA Cup weekend? Spurs beat Tamworth. Arsenal lost to United at home. It was just like back-to-back games for Arsenal at home, and they haven't really. You won one, I think.
Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah,
Brighton.
What do you mean back-to-back? As in,
because you've had like 4 home games, I think.
So the last game we
United,
had was
they lost
against Newcastle.
So Newcastle, we lost the cup.
Yeah.
So yeah. Do you mean the Prem or just in the cup?
Just in general, just the run of games at home you had. I think
so. We lost to Newcastle, Strizza says, and we lost to United, beat Spurs, then obviously drew to Villa. But I can't remember the games after Newcastle. It's not coming. I think we played away to Brighton, and then we played away to Brentford as well. So the last game for that, I can't remember. It's not coming to mind. But
okay, cool. So then, obviously, off the back of a home loss to United in the FA Cup, you met Spurs, who beat Tamworth, took it to the death against Tamworth, to be fair. And you met Spurs. And obviously, the North London derby nowadays is kind of a formality in terms of result. One of the most entertaining derbies for sure. But it's always Arsenal win. And it's not necessarily Arsenal wins by like 5-6-0 or like it's a PAM-in or whatever, but Arsenal somehow, some way, they end up winning the game. And the same happened in this year's edition as well. 2-1, I think Trossard with a goal. And Heung-min Son opened the scoring. What was the second goal? Second Arsenal goal?
It's an own goal. Not the Gabriel Solanke. When he had it to Solanke. The set piece thing, and then obviously it was tight scoreline wise, but I think on the base of play, the best team won.
It was all Arsenal.
Yeah,
the best team won. It was all Arsenal. How did you see it, Spurs? Strizza, sorry.
Yeah, obviously, I wasn't confident going into the game, despite the fact Arsenal would have come off the back of a few bad results. As you said, like we struggle against Arsenal, especially at the Emirates. I don't think we won there since 2013. Yunus Kabul, maybe even before that actually.
No, you won in the cup. You won the cup game. Remember?
I mean in the league though.
Oh,
Gotcha. In the league, we've not won there since Harry Redknapp was in charge, and that was like maybe 2010. So it's one of them games where obviously we always say fixture goes out of the window. I mean, form goes out the window, but I know within myself that we're not gonna get a win from that game. So I would have taken a draw before the game. The first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, like they were dominant. We score a goal, a lucky deflected goal against a run of play. But ultimately also were the better side, and they really could have won that by 3 or 4-1, really. I thought we were poor.
Based on the first half, I must say. I think the first half they were very good, but second half I felt Spurs were much better, but yet toothless. But Arsenal were toothless as well.
I mean, there's a reason why.
I don't personally think. I don't think we were like second half we were better, yeah, but I don't think we were great. Like I think in general we did nothing. I don't think we had a shot on target in the second half. We had a bit more of the ball, but I think Arsenal retreated a little bit as well and played a little bit more on the break. But we didn't create anything. I never felt like we were going to score. I never felt like we were going to win the game. And if we had got a goal, Arsenal would have went and scored another one. That's what it felt like to me. Like it was a disappointing performance. I thought again, the new keeper looked shaky, but I give him a bly. Basuma for the second goal. Like how many times has he done this where he just lapse of concentration, lose the ball? Yeah, the keeper probably should do better with the shot from Trossard, but mate, if it wouldn't have been that, it would have been something else. And I just think in general, like we were just poor. Like everyone was poor. It's for me, it's frustrating because if there was a time to play Arsenal, you could argue that it was a good time. They went obviously all the way to extra time and penalties against United, and they had to play a strong 11. We were able to rest players against Tamworth, albeit we went to extra time as well, but we only brought on a few players later on in the game. So we may have been fresher, but it didn't look like that in the game. And yeah, it just looked like one team wanted it more, and that was Arsenal. And I feel like I'm saying that too often at the moment. And yeah, just the overall feeling is disappointment, man. I can't lie.
All right, man. Park that. We'll touch on Spurs later. But obviously, Arsenal, Shalom, sorry, you had back-to-back. You had Spurs at home, and then in the weekend, you had Aston Villa at home. And I think, from my perspective, Arsenal fans, you guys are in uproar. Obviously, you won the game against Spurs, but then you drew the game against Aston Villa, which we probably would feel like a loss, especially being 2-0 up and being at home and in the context of the title race. But do you think, despite all the injuries that you have, do you think you guys are playing badly? Do you think, or are you in a camp of this is an Arteta problem? Or what do you think the issue is right now? And let's not hark on the we're missing attackers or whatever. Like just the overall picture. What is the issue?
I mean, that's part of the issue, isn't it? The fact that we don't have a good striker, and we don't have a good attacking force or even attacking. What's the word? We don't. So if we look into our bench, we don't have someone to come and help. So that doesn't help the situation. But you know what? Taking back like at everything and just putting my sensible hat on, for what is worth, I think we have done well for where we are. When I think about it, because that Villa game, we lose Saliba. Because we lose Saliba, that means Timber had to play centre back, and we had to drop Partey as a right back. That Ollie Watkins goal possibly wouldn't have happened if we had our back four there. So because of all of that, I think we're doing as well as we can do with the team we have, and to be second, we have to take it. I'm not as mad as I was yesterday or even the weeks before today. I've just accepted. Yeah, I've just accepted it. I've accepted the fact that we are where we are, and yes, some of the things the reasons why we're here is self-inflicted because we didn't get a striker and we relied on Kai Havertz as our number 9. Looking back at it, it's almost a sackable offense. You know what I mean, in regards to Arteta, because I think one of Arteta's bad attributes is that he believes in players too much. Like, you don't go into the league thinking Kai Havertz is going to be a savior as a 9. You have to somehow look at a player and think, can I get a backup to this player? And I think his faith in his players sometimes can be to his detriment. But even with all that, and with our injuries, we're second, and we are where we are. So I can't complain. I can only just accept reality and just move on. So
but
it is what it is.
What's you being 2-0 up, being in the ascendancy,
yeah,
wave after wave attacks, controlling the game for 60 minutes. Was the attack at fault for yesterday's game?
The attack wasn't at fault. I don't even think we even had, like, I was amazed we managed to score 2 goals against Villa. That's off the bat. You know what I mean? I didn't think, in my head, I thought the best way we win this game is we defend, we contain Villa, we score 1 goal, maybe from a set piece or maybe from a Trossard, and we just lock the game off. We go to score 2 goals. I was amazed. But I think what really hurt us yesterday, and Jamie Carragher kind of touched on this in his when he was speaking today on the Everton game. He said the issue with Arsenal is that we're feeling the pressure and we're annoyed that because City has fallen, we're not number 1, and we're seeing Liverpool in front of us, and that's just frustrating us. So we're playing as a frustrated team, not as a team relaxed. And that was very telling, because once we went 2-0 up in that game, I expected us to just lock off the game. I expected us to just...
Like you normally do.
Yeah, like just pass the ball, take the fouls. But what we did, which was weird, is I'm sure you guys watched it. When we scored the second goal, we went 100 miles an hour. We were antagonizing Villa. We were going to the challenge. We were jamming them up to give us a game. And they responded. They gave us a game. That's not what you do when you're missing players. You have to take some sense into it. I think you have to play sensible. You have to just lock off the game. You have to just take the foul and make at home. Yes,
that early?
Yes, because I think you have to be pragmatic. There's bigger things at play. You have to accept it.
What do you think, Strizza? It makes sense.
I understand what you're saying, but I think that's been a problem for Arsenal in recent weeks, and we touched on it in a few pods ago, where Arsenal have gone goals ahead and they've kind of sat back and invited pressure, and then they haven't gone on to get the result. And I think sometimes attack is the best form of defence. Now, I guess you can argue that 1-0 up against Brighton is different to being 2-0 up in a game, right? And especially when, like Villa at that point hadn't really posed much of a threat. There was a few times where Ollie Watkins was making runs in behind, but the ball didn't actually go through. I felt like Arsenal were pretty comfortable with that. So I don't necessarily think it's that, but I do think they could have slowed the game down a little bit. They could have been a little bit more, like streetwise, how Arsenal have been, right, this season, and controlled things more. But it was very early, and the Villa goal came with half an hour to go. So I think because the goal came at the point it did, it may be that you could sense a little bit of tension in the stadium. And I wasn't sure Arsenal were going to go on. I felt like once Villa got the first goal, they could potentially get another one. So I can see both sides. I think for me personally, if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be disappointed, of course. 2-0 up, it's criminal to drop points. But I thought Arsenal played well. I honestly thought they played well. I think the 2 goals are just 2 lapses of concentration. Tielemans runs off Marino. You can't do that. Marino's actually ahead of him at that point, and he runs off the back of him, and it's a good header. Cool. And then the second goal, again, Partey steps out. He's not in his natural position, but as a defensive midfielder, you should know there's a player there. You can't leave him goal side, and you get punished. And that's what happens, obviously. And we know that, Watkins loves a goal against Arsenal as well. So I think, it's obviously frustrating to be 2-0 up, but a point against Villa is not the worst result.
I mean, also you have to consider, man, we don't have the best attacking force. So in that situation, if the best form of defense is attack, we don't have a good attack. So at that point, I'm just thinking, accept reality and just play pragmatic.
You've had this attack for 3 seasons where you have been doing well. So I feel like Arsenal's thing has always been like, since you've been back competing for the past 2-3 seasons, is that you get goals from everywhere. So you've never really had that one person to whatever. Even though I do agree with you, you need that
we do with Saka. We do with Saka. The interest.
Doesn't do it season in, season out.
Okay, the thing about Arsenal, if you clocked, is now teams don't fear our attack going forward. Like, they don't fear it. Like, whenever Martinelli has the ball, there's pressure. Like, you're not beating him. They know that he's not going to do much. When Sterling has the ball, they know he isn't doing much. But when Saka used to have the ball, when he was playing, they gave him space. They gave him that respect. and if, say, for example, Saka was in the game against Villa, I would have agreed with you. I would have thought, let's attack them because we have Saka, and the teams are going to be wary that they can't just go gun ho because behind they have Saka who's going to hit us on the counter, etc. But that wasn't the case yesterday. Plus, we were playing we were without Saliba, as I've explained, and Timber as centre back and Partey. You have to accept facts, and I think that's what was missing yesterday. And I agree with Strizza. You know what? Yesterday kind of gave me. I thought that was a Champions League game. Just gave me that Champions League feel. Like these are two top teams playing, and I didn't think Arsenal really gave Villa enough respect. If they did, they would have understood that at 2-0 up, lock off the game. That's what you should do. Lock it off because Liverpool just won. You understand? So all you need is that 3 points, nothing else. Be pragmatic. Lock off the game. I know it's early, but you just have to lock it off. No, there's no point hitting playing at 100 miles per hour. I didn't understand that.
So when you were watching the game prior to the 1-0 at 60th minute, let's say the 50th minute, were you screaming lock off the game?
What, at 1-0?
No, after 2-0. So at the 50th minute. Were you screaming lock off the game?
When the second goal went in, and surprisingly was Kai Havertz, I thought, okay, well, this is amazing.
Exactly. You were thinking we're comfy. We're bagging another two.
I'm not thinking we're comfy because we don't have players to grab another two.
Oh, stop it. Allow me, man. You guys were dominating the game. Aston Villa didn't have a sniff. You're telling me at that point you were worried.
At that point, I didn't see the need to hit them.
I switched off my TV, until I saw 2-1.
At that point, I didn't see the need for Arsenal to go ahead to grab a third and a fourth because we don't have the players to grab a third and a fourth. That's the truth. You just have to be streetwise. You have to be pragmatic. Okay, let's run it out. Say we were pragmatic and we delayed the game. Villa scores 79th, 80th minute. That's the game is already 10 minutes in, 10 minutes left. We can just delay the game again, and we can win that game. But what we don't do is to give them an opening. Sometimes you just have to respect your opponent. And I think,
but like I said, that was a lapse of concentration. I don't think their goals came from receiving sustained pressure from Villa or leaving yourself open from Villa. The Digne cross. That should have been dealt with because I don't think homework was done on Digne that he could deliver. Marino should have done better there as well. But I think Digne's cross should have been stopped. That you guys left him. You guys gave him the pitch.
It goes without saying, but that's the point I'm trying to make. They didn't give Villa enough respect because last season Villa came and done our dance and ruined the league. And I think what they did is, if I'm guessing, Arteta probably jared up the guys to all right, these guys came last year, they beat us, we have to respond in kind. And I think 2-0 at that point, you've done the job. Respect the team that done your dance last season and lock it off. That's all I wanted. There was no point at 2-0 going 100 miles per hour. There was no point. There wasn't any point, especially when you don't have killers up front. There's no point.
I disagree, man. At that particular point, if it was later in the game, I agree. But at the 50th, 60th minute, I disagree, man. But
don't see Arsenal from the point of view of Liverpool. Look at Arsenal for the strikers and the attackers they have.
I'm looking at a point of view from you guys. Okay. But let's move on.
Fair enough.
In terms of transfer business, because obviously Teta has come out and said, we now need to sign an attacker. We now need to grab players. We now need to do business because we're not strong up front right now. Even on the bench, you had youngsters. Even Villa's bench. I said it in the Brighton game. Villa's bench had a stronger bench than you guys as well. I'm looking at their players, and some of them could either start or be on your bench in your team at the moment. Know what I mean? So what needs to be done from that point of view? Because you'll see in Man City, they already spent 200 mil in January alone, which is completely unheard of. What do you guys need to do? What are the rumors? What are the links? What is your advice?
You know what, man? I've been thinking about this, and probably Strays and to a point Liverpool. You just have to accept that if you want to be a top team, I think at this particular time, you're going to have to ruffle some feathers. You're going to have to fight with the FA or the Premier League in regards to financial doping. Because look at Chelsea, look at City. These are top teams that don't care. They're getting their targets because they want to win. You understand? And I guess we're going into financial doping, whatever, but my team would rather get Zubimendi accept for the summer, but not go fight for someone like Omar Mamouche or go get a target and Jan right now. If I was, I mean, what's his name is left, but if I was Arteta or the director, 1st of January, 2nd of January, I'm signing someone. Right? Because I know right now we lose 2 games, we're out of the title race. You have to get someone in. So, yeah, I just feel like you have to accept that Arsenal are the club they are, and they're not to the level of a City or even to a Chelsea, because these 2 teams are ruthless when it comes to signing. They will get their man, and we are not. And to a point, Liverpool too aren't, but you're lucky with like the players you have. And Spurs as well. You're not, and
lucky.
we have to.
How's good squad planning lucky? You
I
spend
mean,
more money than us. We spend our money, bro.
When I say lucky, like for example, Salah. You have Salah. He doesn't have. It doesn't have like he's not injured. So that's luck to a point.
Bro,
So
come on, man.
Anyways, yes, but the whole point is, but the major point is you're not big spenders as City or Chelsea. That's the point I'm making. And these clubs are willing to invest in players and pay the big money to win trophies. We're not that level, and that's what we want our clubs to be. We're just not that level. That's it.
Yeah, but do you not think like it's not a good allocation of resources on your part as well? Like you guys keep mentioning the summer, you spend a bunch of money as well, but it didn't really go into places or positions that you really needed. Whereas like if you look at Liverpool, it seems like Liverpool are covered on all bases. Maybe defense, but apart from defense, we seem to be covered midfield and attack.
Personally, I think the signing of Mikel Merino, I was up for it, but now I'm not too sure. I think rather than getting him, we could have gotten a striker, and we could have kept someone like Emil Smith-Rowe or Vieira back. That would have made more sense. That was poor squad planning from Arteta. Like I said, he just trusted that Havertz would get us lots of goals, and which he's not going to do that. So it's poor squad planning. I think our summer transfer was a 4 out of 10, in my opinion.
Striz, sorry, we're still on Arsenal, guys, but lots to talk about with that club for some reason. But Martin Odegaard is also a point of conversation for I think Arsenal fans in particular that I'm seeing right now. It's like a civil war going on with that fan base as usual. But now it's about their captain. Obviously, he was missing for a couple of months. Their attack was kind of toothless at that time. Saka was still there. They blamed obviously Odegaard missing in those times. I think when he came back, he had like one or two good games, but then he's like kind of missing again. I don't know exactly what people are looking for him or what people are expecting from him, but I think it's clear to see from everyone else, from everyone, is that Odegaard is not the Odegaard that we expected him to be, especially as the captain to try and drag his team to win the Premier League. But how do you see it? Is it just like he's still dealing with the injury that he had, or the pressure is too much? What is it?
Lack of sleep.
Do you know what? I think you're right. And I think most Arsenal fans, Shalom, I'm sure you will agree, since he's been back, he's not been great. No. I think no Saka's massive, right? You said it earlier about teams giving Saka space and respect. I agree with it to a certain extent, but I also think that Saka gets doubled up, sometimes trebled up on that side, and it allows space for other players like Odegaard who pick up in good pockets of space to get on the ball and make things happen. And I think now that threat of Saka's gone, Odegaard is a bit more. There's a bit more obviously pressure on him to lead the team, and he's never really been a goals machine or even an assist machine. I know he had a very good season, I think a couple of seasons ago, where he did well numbers wise, but he's almost that pass before the assist or that little bit of creativity to play them little balls over the top into that little pocket where Saka runs into. And in terms of getting on the ball and things like that, keeping it ticking, he's good at that. But what Arsenal need are goals. What Arsenal need are moments of brilliance. And I don't know if he has that. That's his game, right? Now, I think there's two things Arsenal could do.
Sorry to cut you, but I think in the back end of last season, he was their guy, bro. He was the guy that was doing the assists, that was also getting some goals. Even in the Champions League, like against Porto, against Bayern Munich, for me, he was the only standout player in the Arsenal side that really tried and showed that level of, I belong here. But now, he's a shadow of that.
I just think it's a big thing is not having Saka, though, because you take away Saka from that team and you don't have as much space. There's not as much fear with Odegaard. So although like he is that creative hub and he does create chances and things like that, he's only got 2 assists this season. Now, I know he was out for a couple of months, but since he's come back, he's not been in the goals. He's not been in the chance creation. And I think there's 2 reasons for that, really, for me. The first thing is the way Arsenal play with obviously having 2 wide men that are not confident, right? And Trossard isn't the type of player that's going to beat a man necessarily. And Martinelli's obviously short of confidence. Sterling hasn't got confidence. So the players in front of him are not exactly playing with confidence. Havertz's goals have dried up a little bit, which doesn't help. Like, I wouldn't say I'm a big fan, but I rate Odegaard. I think he's a very good player. But I think the front line in general for Arsenal are struggling at the moment for confidence. And he probably is too. So as a whole, the whole cohesion of the front line, like the front 3 and then him in behind it, it's just not clicking. And that's obviously, that could be because of the way Arteta's setting the team up to be defense first, get ahead and sit back. Or it could just be down to the fact that he doesn't have confidence at the moment because of the players that are around him. But I think when you come back from a long-term injury, it will take a bit of time. Arsenal need to sign an attacker. They need to sign a forward. Who that is, though, I don't know. Because I had this conversation with Shaz, and I said to him, listen, like, who would you want to get right now? Because we all know the main target would be Isak, right? But you're not going to get him now. So do you sign someone now for pay above the odds, and then in the summer miss out on your number 1 target? I think the perfect player for Arsenal right now, he's not an out-and-out striker, but who can play left, centrally, and right would be Kudus at West Ham. I think it'd be Kudus. I think Kudus would be the perfect player for Arsenal. He's a bit of a maverick. He's not like the most technically gifted, but in terms of pace, power, can play all across the front and gives you a different dimension. Can cover Saka on the right-hand side, can play on the left-hand side because he's done that this season because Bowen predominantly plays on the right, can play centrally, wouldn't cost you that much money. And then in the summer, you go and get your number 1 target up front. That's what I would if I was an Arsenal fan, that's what I would want. But I don't know what you think about that. But on Odegaard, I think it's a whole team thing. I think genuinely, like, there's going to be more eyes on him because he's the captain. He's supposed to drag the team through, but none of them are really performing in the 4 positions.
Yeah. Very passive showing from Odegaard. Kudus is a good shout as well, to be honest. Yeah, let's move on to Liverpool then, because obviously they're the other team in that top 2. And I'm mentioning these 2 teams because in the past 5, actually since December 1st, we've matched results with Arsenal, which is very funny, to be honest. So we've had the same results and the same amount of points that we collected between now and the start of December. But obviously with that point gap before, it's still obviously 6 points, 9 points if we win our game in hand. Obviously midweek we drew to Nottingham Forest and Arsenal beat Spurs, so obviously that brought it back to 4 points. Was 4 points or 3 points? 4 points.
4 points.
Yeah. Which was a very weird game from us, to be honest. I felt like this was definitely, most Liverpool fans looked at as like a banana slip. Obviously, Nottingham Forest, the only team to beat us. Nottingham Forest are doing really well. They've got the same amount of points as Arsenal. So this was not a team that we it was our God-given right or our birthright to collect all 3 points from. So I was very curious to see what we're going to do. When I saw the starting lineup, I saw that he was going to do the Diaz Force 9 thing again, and I saw Jota was on the bench. That, for me, didn't make sense because, for me, your best players, if they're fit enough to be on the bench, they should be fit enough to start. And he's done that he's starting a not fit Konate. So why are you not starting a not fit, what's his name? Jota. Sure. So I think that was a mistake one for me from Slot. And I know he brought on Tsimikas and Jota afterwards and they changed the game. But I didn't want to give Slot credit there because they possibly should have started. And then that game would have probably been completely different. But despite that, I loved how we responded in the second half. I think first half, Nottingham Forest contained us very, very well. Second half, I think it was a goalkeeper masterclass from them. That goalkeeper is very, very good. I like him. Very, very good. But Jota should have scored at least 2 more goals there, man. But he made some great saves. Murillo as well. He was cleaning up. I don't know if you guys watched the game, but that guy. But I'm not sure about him because I want to see him in like a team with a high line or playing in a high line. I want to see how good he is then. In a low block, he looks really, really good. But yeah, I want to see how he is in the high line. That's why I'm not. But you know what? He was good. He was good in that game. And I think 1-0 was a deserved result. Any comments from you guys from that game? Quickly?
No, I agree. I think that obviously the goal came early and Forest were up for it, you could tell. But second half, Liverpool probably deserved to win 2 or 3. He made some unreal saves in the second half. And yeah, Liverpool probably be disappointed. But at the same time, a point away there is not a bad result, man. They're up there. They deserve to be up there.
Yeah, agreed.
They deserve to be up there, man.
Yeah, agreed.
They're a good side. They're a good side. They in terms like the goal, I thought was so good. It was just one pass, touch, bang, into Wood, finish. Like it was, and in terms of on the break with Alanga, Gibbs, White, Hudson-Odoi, and the form Chris Wood's in, like they pose a lot of threats. Anderson's a good player. Like, yeah, they're a good side, man. So I think,
they're a very good side, man.
The draw.
Yeah, draw was probably a fair result. Still think we should have won it. Still think we were the better team. And that actually gave me confidence for the Brentford game because then I was like, okay, if we can do this against Forest, then I'm 100% sure that we will beat Brentford and Jota will start. Let's get it. See the team sheet. Jota's not even in the squad. I was like, shit.
He's injured, isn't it?
Bro, that guy, I don't know what's going on, man. But he was injured, but I was happy because Robert was moved to the bench. Tsimikas started. And then, Brentford game. And then obviously Brentford, they've been playing really well at home as well.
Yeah.
Collecting points from City. I think Arsenal went there as well, but they won. But, it was with huffing and puffing from Arsenal as well. So it wasn't going to be a walk in the park. But again, I really like the way that we asserted ourselves. And I think the difference with us and Arsenal, and I know we've got like most of our players fit, I have to use that. I have to definitely mention that. But I think the difference with us is like, we're similar, but at the same time, we're not similar. Arsenal are very good at like pushing teams back and choking them and keeping them in their half and playing it pass and pass. But the fruitless possession that Arsenal does, that's not what Liverpool does. I think Liverpool, there's a lot more intent in terms of like chance creation and getting to the goal and trying to bag and letting our shots off and ripping the other team apart, like getting them so tired that they're thinking, what's going on? Know what I mean?
Intensity. You guys are intense.
Like from everywhere in the pitch. And
yeah,
I think
you're intense.
That's what showed, especially in the Brentford game, where like Wissa, that's his name, right? Wissa and Mbeumo. They tried it, but Konate and Van Dijk, man, honestly, like Van Dijk especially, man, there was a point where Mbeumo like left Van Dijk, like left him, and Van Dijk caught up with him and just cleanly took the ball off him. So our centre backs, specifically Van Dijk, I have to give credit for because he's been immense the last couple of games. And then obviously Nuñez comes on. First 10 minutes, he was shocking, like absolutely shocking. But then still wins us the game, man. And I think, again, fully deserved, man, because we kept knocking on the door. And eventually, if you do that, you get the dub, man. So that set up the pressure for Arsenal. I guess they were looking at that game thinking, Liverpool are dropping points again. and then we get it done. Getting it done in the end. But Shalom, I want to ask you, because obviously the stat is there that obviously we've matched each other for the past month or so.
Yeah.
Or just over a month. So obviously if this keeps going, Liverpool will be champions. What needs to change? Like on both sides even. So for fortune to favor your team. What do you think will change? What do you think? Let me say, what do you think will happen? And what do you think will happen for Arsenal to actually do the madness? Because if Arsenal wins the league, you can argue, you can say it's a madness. If they do
Listen, anything I say right now would just me accepting I'll be living in Delulu land, because there isn't any evidence right now that suggests Liverpool will lose 4 games and Arsenal will.
Tabo is calling me and telling me there's cracks. I
mean, there could be cracks. There could be cracks, but you're talking Liverpool they basically go on a downward spiral, lose 4 games, and then Arsenal potentially win all their games to win this. It's not going to happen. I think we can all agree that at most Liverpool would probably lose 2. Right?
2 more
I don't
games.
see 2 more games. I just don't see it. In the event that happens, I told you in the last pod that time ago, that would be second to our invincible win, because it's just crazy. I don't see it happening. The only way we can force it is if we can get 2-3 attackers and essentially change the outlook of the face of this Arsenal team. But that's not happening. This is Arsenal. We're not spending that amount of money. So facing facts and accepting reality, I think right now it's Liverpool's title to win. They have to lose 4.
So what are you telling me in terms of your club then? Is it a top 4? Let's say in the top 4. Do you think top 4 you guys are?
I think we
are.
Want
to be the best of the rest again?
Say again?
Or do you want to be the best of the rest again? Because Nottingham Forest is behind you. City, they will come.
I don't see us dropping out from the top 4. I think it's disrespectful to say Arsenal will drop out the top 4. It's just and it's.
Hey, it was disrespectful to say they will not win the league. Now it's disrespectful to say they will drop out.
I mean, to say if you don't, I wouldn't even go.
That was
close.
That was close, by the way.
I wouldn't even touch that. I think it's disrespectful to say we wouldn't be top 4. The way we played, and if you just said we matched the same points, etc. That's not a team that's going to drop out the top 4. You understand? Yeah. So it doesn't. There's no evidence right now that tells me that we will drop out the top 4. Right? So we are going to be.
What are you telling me? Is the madness occurring?
No, they'll get top 4 comfy, but I think City will finish above them. I think City will finish second. So you can clip it, you can save it, you can do what you want, because I think now City have showed why they're the big boys in this league and why they're saying, we're going to go out and get the players that we need to make sure that people know we're still around. Now, I think the gap to Liverpool is too big. And as Shalom said, I don't think you're going to drop that many points. But Arsenal, what, are they 3 points behind Arsenal?
Well, City.
5.
City, yeah. Is it 5?
I think 5, yeah. City got 38 points. Arsenal got 44.
44.
6. That's 6 points.
6 points.
Even still, 6 points. I honestly think City will do what City do come the business end of the season and win the back-to-back games that they do. And I just don't know if Arsenal have... We know they ain't got the firepower, but have they got the defensive solidity at the moment as well to stay where they are? But they'll get top 4. How long Saliba out for?
It depends on the game, because they're playing soon, right?
We don't know. We will find out this week coming, how long he is out for.
If Saliba's out for a month, 6 weeks, it's a hamstring injury. You don't want to rush that. Then where are they going to be then?
So, I mean, the good news, Strizza, is weirdly enough, you guys saw the game. I thought Timber was fine playing centre back.
Timber's
he's a centre back. Yeah. I thought he was fine. It's just that right back that we need to sort out. But
I've been telling you that, Shalom. Partey in right back does not make sense. He needs to
No,
be
no,
in midfield.
No,
You need to
I
find
agree.
a solution for the right
I
back.
agree, but that's the issue.
That's what I
Let's not
said.
make this an Arsenal thing. Yeah.
No. But that's what I said. I would risk like another Lewis-Skelly, like a youngster that's good in the academy, and Partey in his rightful position. I think that would be better. But
I don't know why he doesn't play. And I know when he's coming, he's not been great. But Kiwior just play centre back, keep Partey at right back, and just
not good, bro.
I know he's not good, but I think you lose so much when Partey doesn't play in midfield.
Yeah, agreed.
So much, and it's just like, where do you go with it? Do you take out, I think, your best six in there by playing him right back, or do you miss out on having, obviously, Kiwior's not that great, but I think with Saliba next to him, with Gabriel next to him, do you know what I mean? He can maybe talk him through the game. I think the Liverpool game, when he came on, he come on with 20 minutes to go. Hadn't played in a while. It's a little bit different. But yeah, these are problems that obviously Arteta's got to solve. But I completely agree. Partey at right back. Nah.
All right, man. Let's move on, man. Sorry, guys. Arsenal done. Let's move on to their neighbours, Spurs. Obviously, we touched on them losing the North London derby. And then they went to Merseyside to play at Goodison Park for the very last time. They got blamed there as well. 3-2. David Moyes. This is his first win, right? Since did he? Yeah, he lost against Villa last week. Yeah. So this is first win against Spurs. Whilst being 3-0 down, you made a late revival. Kulusevski, by the way, what a player, what a goal! I really like him. But yeah, man. 2 weeks ago, we were all on the pod. You was giving it this to the Arsenal lads. You was giving it this. You were telling them your ball is crap. Ange Ball over Teta Ball. Obviously, me, I was stoking it. I was, you know what I mean? So they was giving it to me as well. They was giving it to me as well. I don't care. But you've lost to the team that you were at in, and you lost to Everton in a very convincing way as well. Tamworth also wasn't pretty. Where do you stand, bro? Where do you stand on Ange Ball? Is it still an Ange Ball thing? Do you still enjoy seeing your team play? Because you don't enjoy this.
Nah,
cut the crap.
I've said a lot of questionable things on the podcast, and I just gotta hold my hands up, say my bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't keep defending my team when they go out and perform in the way that they do, innit? Like, we drew against Wolves. We lost to Arsenal, sorry. We lost against Everton. Earlier in the season, Leicester, newly promoted team, we drew against them. We lost against Ipswich. I can't keep defending the manager and the players, and they go out there and lose week in, week out. We ain't won a game since before Christmas. Southampton. We have not won a game, like, in the league. It's unacceptable. It's inexcusable. I can't keep making excuses for the manager and for the players. So I'm in a predicament now where I don't know whether I'm Ange in or Ange out. I said earlier, I'm 51% in, 49% out. Like, it's borderline. The only saving grace is we have the cup semi-final against you boys. Probably going to lose, but we've got that to play for. We're in the next round of the FA Cup and we're still in the Europa League. Whether Ange is the right man to take us forward for those competitions, I can't sit here and say that I believe in him anymore or believe in his philosophy or his way of playing, because Everton don't score goals. So how you're 3-0 down to that team at half-time is inexcusable. Calvert-Lewin ain't scored in 16 games, so that's all right. Got Tottenham next week. Probably licking his lips. Oh, who we got at the weekend, Gaffer? Oh, we got Tottenham. Oh, no worries. I'll get on the score sheet. Twisting man up. I've never seen Calvert-Lewin show feet like that and composure to finish. And it wasn't just that. He bullied our centre-backs. And step over, left Dragerson spinning around on the floor.
He's awful, by the way.
Terrible. Bro, this is the thing, yeah. Like, and
I remember when they bought Dragusin. This guy was chatting the most about Dragons. Chatting the most about Dragusin. Chatting the most.
Do you know what? What I said was, a few clubs were after him, right? He came through the Juventus system, and I'd heard good things, but I couldn't say I'd watched him play. But I can now say confidently, I've watched him play. Send him back to where we got him from, because it don't matter who's in charge, how long he's going to be here for. He will never be good enough to play for a top 6 team in the Premier League, if you can call us that at the moment, right? We were toothless. There was no passion, no aggression, no idea, no philosophy, no way of playing. We didn't create any chances that I can remember. Son had a chance in the first half, but Everton moved to us. We got moved to by Everton. Do you know how embarrassing that is? Everton are mid. They are meaty. They're one of the worst teams in the league. I see more from like a Southampton and Ipswich. They try and play. Everton don't even try and play. Now, I know Moyes has obviously gone in there, new manager bounce, if you want to call it that. But we were so poor today. Ange tried to change the system, went to a back three. Why are you playing a back three when we ain't got no centre backs? It don't make sense. These players have played in a back four for the whole time Ange has been there, but you want to change it to a back three now? Why? It didn't make sense. And then like in terms of like, so we know we've got injuries, right? But I'm not even going to come on here and blame injuries today because I've spoken about the injuries. Solanke's obviously out, no Basuma, no Johnson, not that I rate him, but I'm not going to blame injuries today. Son as a striker, you might as well stick me up front. Honestly, I'll be able to hold the ball up. It's not going to work. Tarkowski and Braithwaite eating them up. You got Kulu is obviously this season has been our best player, but he can't do it by himself. Do you know what I mean? There's only so much that he can do himself. It's just we're in a predicament now where
Madisson,
non-existent. We're in a predicament.
Strizza, sorry for cutting you off, but what's the beef between Madisson and Ange that he just loved playing him and like he likes benching him? What happened? Did they fall off? Fall out? I mean,
genuinely, like this is a common question like amongst Spurs fans. Something's definitely happened, but I don't know what it is. He doesn't trust Madisson in certain games. It's clear that he prefers Kulusevski in the central role. Even the other day against Arsenal, he didn't start Madisson and he played Kulusevski on the right. He doesn't trust him. Whether it's because he doesn't work hard enough, because there's one thing about Kulusevski is even if he's not playing that well, he runs his socks off. Maybe it's that. Yeah. I don't know, but Madisson for me is our best technical player. He's someone that can control the tempo to a certain extent, get on the ball, keep things ticking. I go back to the City away game. I know it was ages ago, but that's one of the best performances I've seen from Madisson since he's been at Spurs. He was the best player on the pitch. And I thought, okay, cool. Maybe Ange just found somewhere for him to play in the team with Kulusevski. And then since then, he's been in and out of the team and whatever else. I don't get it. But he should be in that team. He's almost favouring Bergvall now. Obviously, Bergvall played well against Liverpool in the Cup. He's 18, he's young. He's being picked ahead of him. Sarr's being picked ahead of him. You'd have to question and say, well, if Madison's not going to start for you, you may as well sell him. Because what use is he? For me, he should be starting, but I don't think Ange fancies him. But nevertheless, like the season is becoming an embarrassment, to be honest with you. Today, we're in a 6-pointer with Everton. They're 4 points behind us. Now, this is serious, though. Like, it's funny and I've had a laugh about it, but when I deep it, like, we're 15th in the league. Like,
yeah, man.
And I don't see it getting any better because I can promise you now, who we got next? Leicester at home. Do not be surprised if Van Nistelrooy, who's lost his last 6 or 7, goes and gets
7 games. Oh, that would be funny.
Don't be surprised if Van Nistelrooy's Leicester turn up, and they win 1-0 and Jamie Vardy scores the winner. Do not be surprised. Because the way we are at the moment, we struggle against Tamworth, G. Yeah. Like, anybody that's got Spurs on their fixture list is licking their lips thinking, you know what, we get a result today. Strikers thinking, that Dragusin at the back, I fancy myself against him. Do you know what I mean? We're meant to be a club, yeah, that's going for things. The whole point of to move into the new stadium and things like that was to push us forward and progress. We've just gone backwards. That's all we've done. I'm not even going to sit here. We know about the owners and the situation. Forget that. There is no excuses that can be made for losing to Everton. 3-2 flattered us because it should have been more than 3. They should have been 4 or 5 up. And if it would have been 4 and 5, I think Ange would have been getting sacked in the morning. But the fact we scored 2 goals later on in the game, it kind of makes it a little bit more bearable. As I said, I don't know what you man think, but Ange hasn't got long. I think if we lose to Leicester, right, we get a bad result in the Europa League, and then we lose against Schuler in the Cup, I think he could be gone.
I think the Leicester game, if you lose to Leicester, if you drop points, I think the Leicester game must be a win. I hear you that obviously the cup game, the Carabao Cup game, might be a saving grace, and he might save that if he gets to a final. But Levi, I've sacked Donnies before, bro, getting to finals. Not even letting them play finals. He's done it before. So I think the Leicester game is do or die for him, low key. I do think that. He might still be there for the Liverpool game.
Yeah.
And let's say you guys win that game and go through. Bro, I can see it. Because, I fully agree with you, man. And I think said it in the group chat as well. And you and Max were giving him a bit of stick where the recent form and result, that's a sackable offense of what he's doing right now. Even you saying that he hasn't won a game since the Southampton game, which was, I think, Christmas. That's Christmas, a long time ago. That's a long time ago. You know what I mean? So, it's kind of inexcusable. Maybe his saving grace is the injuries, because he's got the most injuries, I think. Spurs is first, Bournemouth second, and Arsenal third. Top 3 teams with the most injuries. So he's got a lot, to be fair. A lot.
We do have a lot of injuries, but that doesn't.
Yeah, you have to make. I agree with you.
The performance today is not acceptable. That for me, that's not 11 players playing for the manager. Like, it's weird though, because when we played against you in the cup, I thought they're playing for Ange, and then when I see what I've seen today, it's like they're not playing for Ange, and that's why I'm like, I try and be patient, I try and be level-headed, I try and look at the bigger picture and say, well, if we sack him, who do we get in? We start the process again. You've got a whole load of players that he signed, and the uncertainty.
I think that also, like, the who do we get in if we sack him? Brother, there's trainers out there, bro. Trust me. Like,
no, they're wrong.
Your current trainer, and I said this to like a few Arsenal donnies as well, who are saying Arteta out. I'm not saying Arteta should go out, but some Arsenal fans are saying Arteta out. But then they're worried about who do we get in. Trust me, there are coaches out there. You know what I mean?
But who though? That's the thing, though. But who?
There are bro. Even like Slot, people were questioning Slot. You know what I mean? We got Slot from the Eredivisie. There are coaches, bro. Your current coach, if he's not doing well, it's not the be or end all. Move on. That's
fair enough.
I like Iraola at Bournemouth. He's done an amazing job, right?
I like him as well.
Who's to say he will leave Bournemouth and come to us? We're a bigger club, no doubt, but they're pushing for Europe this season, right? Now, there's going to be managers.
Let me tell you one thing. The football world is similar to like the normal job world. Bournemouth, the Tottenham job, is a bigger job than Bournemouth. He will take it.
Maybe
just on the basis of that. If Amorim can leave Sporting to go United, and I know United is a huge institution.
United's a huge job.
I know, but if Amorim can do that, Iraola can go to Spurs.
I just think I agree with you, but like last thing on it, I just think that you come into Spurs and how much control do you have? Like, you sack the manager, you know who the chairman is. Is it going to be the same thing? The same restraints? Is it still going to be a wage cap? Are we still going to have to not go and get the top quality, get the tier below to try and compete, make them better, improve them? Or are we going to go and say, no, actually, we're going to go and compete for the better players? Because ultimately, we know like teams like Forest, Bournemouth, they're up there because they deserve to be, right? Then nothing against them. But will they be there consistently? Not if they don't spend. We have been in and amongst the top 6, being the lowest spenders out of the big 6, right? But we're in a position where teams are catching up. There's more money now. So if you don't start backing the manager that you have, you'll fall back. You'll fall behind. You'll fall down. Let's not forget, that growing up, Everton were a top 6 team. They used to play in they qualified for the Champions League. I know they got knocked out in the London knockouts, but they used to play in the UEFA Cup as it was back then. And now look at them now. You just think that can't be Tottenham. You got to wake up and smell the coffee. Because if we don't start to do what Liverpool, Chelsea, United, Arsenal, City do, I'm not saying to the same scale, we're going to fall behind. We're already behind, but we're going to fall further behind. So decisions got to be made, innit?
Yeah. I think, it's harsh. Again, I will use the injuries as a thing, but you shouldn't fall that low off the scale because Bournemouth, they got the most injuries. People sleep on Bournemouth and what they did to Newcastle. We can touch on that quickly. But did you guys see their bench? It was all academy players.
Mm-hmm.
All academy players, and they went to Newcastle and did that. So I definitely agree with you. Like, even if there's injuries, your manager should still make the most of the players that they have. Because they should even be wanting to play, relish the opportunity. Oh, now I can play. And you need to get them gassed enough to put in a performance. And obviously with Arsenal, you're kind of seeing that as well. They're still in and amongst at the top. So Spurs, Ange, it's poor. Simple as that. It's very, very poor. And we're going to go to another team that's very, very poor, which is United. Yeah, it's a strange one, this team, because obviously their midweek game was against Southampton. They beat them 3-1, but that was not a 3-1 game. That possibly should have been 3-1 the other way around. And then today they lost 3-1 to Brighton at home as well, which was fully deserved win for Brighton. It seems like, and you know what? I kind of knew this was going to happen. 2 good performances. I mean, let me say 2 good results relatively to United's form at the moment against, teams that are better than them. Then you're going to then you have to show it. And I know Amorim knew as well, it was all going to crash down like the crypto market. He said it himself as well. We don't necessarily care about the performance against the top teams because obviously you can get motivated for that. But they need to show it to me against Southampton. And obviously they eventually ended up winning that game. But it wasn't nice. It wasn't pretty. It happened towards the end. Ahmad, masterclass towards the end, hat-trick. He did well. Couple of mistakes from Ramsdale again and the defense of Southampton, which they always do. But then obviously today it showed again, like, I know Brighton is a good team, one of the better teams in the league. But come on, man. Like, again, similar to Spurs, the performances that they showed against Arsenal and Liverpool, it's not the ones that they're showing against these 2 teams. And let me put it to you guys. So Shalom, you can answer that. Why do you think that is? Obviously, we kind of know, but why do you think United are not necessarily getting up for the games that they should be winning on paper?
One is a confidence thing, because when you know you're good, you step onto that pitch, you beat anyone. But when you are an underdog against the top team, you're different. You play different. You have that seize mentality. You don't want them to beat you, so you tend to perform better. But when you are playing against a team that you should be beating, but you don't have the confidence to beat them, then that's 2 different situations. I think that's essentially what's happening with United, because you can't tell me that Dalot isn't a good player, like Delete isn't a good player. Like, the players they have are good.
They're not good though, man. They're not.
I mean,
they're not.
In comparison to like a Southampton, in comparison, yes, they are good.
Yeah,
right. They're good players, but they're not showing up, and that's an issue. That's a problem for Amorim. So it's going to take a while for United. It's going to take a long time to fix what's going on, because it's at its root, like the players who should be.
I think it's a player thing. I think it's a player thing. He's got his system. He's got his way of playing. That's nailed down. I think that's a huge difference from him and Erik ten Hag. But now it's the pieces, and that's what's a shambles at the moment from top to bottom.
Yeah, so they're going to have to get new players, and that would take time. So good luck to United. I am just going to sit back here and enjoy their fall, but good luck to them, boy. I'm not sure what
Spurs,
Strizza has to say.
Spurs. Sorry, Strizza. I keep calling you Spurs, man.
Stop reminding me, man. I'm trying to forget about them, man.
Do you think you're better than United? I know they're ahead of you, but do you think you're better than them?
Boy, yeah.
It's a good question.
I think we are better than them. I think we're better than them just because. That's saying something. Just because we beat them in the cup, we beat them in the league this season. So based on that, and I know you can't just base it off of like head to head. I think we are better than them. But right now, like if Prez or Charles said to me, "We're better than you," I couldn't argue with it. With the two poor teams, right? Like United are a weird team because when you write them off, they turn up. And then when you expect them to go and do something, they don't. And I don't know whether it's because, like Shalom said, they're the underdogs, they got a point to prove. Or whether it's a case of they can go into games and not have to be the dominant team. And they actually suit playing on the counter-attack a bit more than they do having possession and having to create and think of ways to play. Now, Amrin's trying to get his philosophy and his style of play onto the team, right? And it will take time. I still don't see United having real patterns of play in terms of keeping the ball in the final third, penning the team in the way Arsenal do to a certain extent. I know the way Liverpool plays different. It's a bit more direct, a bit more quick, but I don't see it from them. But then against Liverpool, when they're kind of having to sit back, and then when they do get the ball, having to keep it and make things happen, and it's not expected of them, they look better. So at the end of the day, if you're Man United, you're going to be a team where you're going to have the ball more. You think so. And you're going to have to create. You're going to have to play against teams that have got low blocks and whatever. But Southampton, I watched that game. They were ripping them. That Sulemana, Yoro had nightmares that night.
Hey, wow. Yoro had time in Yoro.
He was, I felt sorry for him. The way he was. So it was like, well, Southampton could play with confidence and they're bottom of the league, rock bottom. Then how can United not, after the back of two decent results and okay performances, it doesn't make sense, man. I agree. Like, I know that they've got better players in Southampton, but their players aren't great. Like, they're not.
Yeah.
And
I don't think they are.
I don't
Onana
think
today as well. I know I'm a huge Onana defender.
Shocking.
But I do agree with what people saying that in the past 2 seasons that he's been here, he's made too many mistakes. Unforgivable mistakes.
But he's also
made great saves as well. Yeah, he's kept them in games, which is fair, but that's what you're supposed to do. But the other coin of it, that's too much, you know what I mean? Because I feel like as a keeper, you can't have that. You can't have that. You need to be just good and have a few mistakes, but you can't be good and have hella mistakes. That's it reminds me of Simon Mignolet. When we had Simon Mignolet, he was like that. Like you can't be a keeper like that. So do I think he's a shit keeper? I don't think so. I think he's a good keeper, but sometimes, man, he does basket things, man. And that Rutter goal, man, unforgivable. If I was a United fan, I'd be vexed.
But we need to keep it a buck, though. Yeah, Brighton are better than United. So like,
Brighton are better than a lot of teams.
Take away the fact that Man United, it's at Old Trafford, and look at Brighton and look at Man United. Brighton are better than them. Why shouldn't Brighton go to United and beat them? Everyone else does, pretty much. Do you know what I mean? There needs to be, like, which players, like, look at Brighton's front three, for example, compared it to United. You're taking Brighton's front three. The back. You're pretty much taking the majority of Brighton's team, and it's shocking because the amount of money that they've spent and things like that. But that's the reality, man.
Strizza, would you take Brighton's manager? Because I think he's good.
Hurtsler.
I don't know. For me, it's too soon because before the Ipswich game midweek, they hadn't won a game since November, right?
Yeah, he's up and down, man.
And yeah, they're inconsistent, but he gets a blight because it's the first season and things like that. I do like him, and I think Brighton play good football, but could he be another Ange?
Yeah, Ange's it's like at the extreme end of like playing good football and how he plays it. I think Hurtsler has like a good middle ground. So there's no another Ange. Ange is just
but
himself.
I think what Strizza, the overriding point of this, what Strizza said is very true, that Hurtsler has a very good team. I said it even when they faced Arsenal, where I was like, there are some. I'm looking at the Brighton team, and I kind of prefer that team over Arsenal. You know what I mean? Like in terms of player wise. You know what I mean? So he's got a good team. He's probably got better players than what you guys have at Spurs. You know what I mean? So good point that Brighton will probably favour us, so they should be beating United. But just in terms of like the stature of the club, the man, the supposed one of the better upcoming managers. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. United. Do you guys think Amorim? Because I've been hearing this as well. Do you guys think Amorim should get the sack if this does not get any better? Because I don't see this getting any better. But should he get the sack? Because people are screaming Amorim out.
If they do sack Amorim, then the club is never going to get out of this. You have to stick to a manager and just stick through it. It's either the manager of the players, and clearly you have to give the manager the power to sort it out, because they have to fix it. And I think Amorim is their best way out of this.
Agreed, man. I definitely agree with that. What do you think, Strizza?
Yeah, I agree. Give him time. Like, the results haven't been great. You can argue he hasn't really turned it around because they're in a similar position they were in before he joined. But I think you got to take time and just wait. It's not like an Ange where he's into his second season and we've gone backwards. I think there are signs that he's going to improve them. You just need to be patient.
I even think Ange stick it out, man, because I think there's plenty of evidence from the past where if you give a manager at least 3 seasons, Jurgen Klopp, they can do wonders. I know Arteta hasn't won anything, but he's made Arsenal competitive again. And, there's a few other examples as well. Very few examples, but if you stick with them, they might do wonders in it. So you never know. We need to head over to the VARBAR. Obviously, City, they're back to winning ways. Beat Ipswich 6-0. Not 6 different scorers. Foden scored twice, but then the rest all different scorers. I think they drew after being 2-0 up as well against Brentford, which is a bit weird from them. But yeah, we could all see City going on a mad run from now on in with all the signings that they're making.
They're finishing second, man.
I'm hearing they're getting they're getting a midfielder as well. So mad. 200 mil.
They're finishing second. They're finishing second, man.
Serious club. They're finishing second, yeah.
They're finishing second.
Shalom.
100%.
Hey, second, third, fourth doesn't matter, man.
Right, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. As long as if you don't win, bro.
Let's head over to the bar, man. Any shots?
Take a shot.
I can start, man.
For me.
I got my shot for Darwin Nuñez, man. Obviously, I've got a love-hate relationship with that guy. And right now, I'm in the hate section. I'm in the hate part, firmly in it as well. But obviously, he came in and won us the game. Obviously, the first goal was a good tap in, but I think the second goal was much more better. What I like to see from a 9, what I like to see a striker do in a box with like defenders around him. Just take a touch, take your time, and I would like him to place it, but he just rossed it. He could have easily gone over, but he went in it. But obviously, shout out Darwin Nuñez for scoring those 2 goals, and hopefully many more to come. But obviously, with all the criticisms that we give you, we have to give you your praise as well, man. So yeah, my shot for tonight goes to him. Still dry, Jan, for the boys.
I don't know why you're looking at me, man. I have no shots to give. It's dry out here. It's
no Lewis-Skelly.
Actually, you know what? Man. Yes. Thank you for
he's
that.
A don.
Actually,
he's a dunny.
He is a dunny. He's different. He reminds me of Saka, in the sense that at a young age he plays like an experienced player, and that's the trait Saka had. They know how they both are very good with their decisions, and big up to Lewis-Skelly. So yeah, I'll take a shot for him. He did well against Spurs and also did well against Villa as well. And those are 2 big games. So my shot goes to Miles Lewis-Skelly.
Strizza, Bergvall? Nah? Kulusevski?
Come on. Listen, Archie Gray?
Ben Davies for being always fit?
He just come back from injury, bro. Not one of them man deserve a shot. Not one of them. Like genuinely, it's dry for me still.
All right, obviously Champions League, Europa League are back midweek, and next week we're back again with another episode. I think the Premier League is like a soap opera, man. It's like too much. This is why it's the best league in the world, man. There's too much going on every single time.
Too much drama, bro.
Too much drama, man. Too much headache, too much pain, too much joy as well, to be honest, depending, where you sit. My name is Andrew, aka Rapping Drew. Mace, Strizza, thank you very much for joining me, the compadres. We are the VBP boys. Please like, share, subscribe as always, and every day we see you. TikTok gang, we see you as well, of course. Strizza, we see you in the comments fighting for your life.
I've been getting cooked,
It's all love, man. But thank you very much, man. Peace.